is a group. AI is a group is a community of professionals eager to test, try, and learn new tools around the technology of AI. Tonight, it's the Marketer 25th, so we've been doing this event for quite a while. It's been 2 years, and we have a great lineup for tonight. So whether you are a marketer trying to learn about this new technology, or you are an AI builder trying to understand use cases around marketing, this place is for you, because we have 3 speakers talking about their product, how it's shaping the marketing world with AI tools. I would like also to talk about this place. It's called the Digital Jungle, and it's a place where we host events. And if you have any projects, I'd love to talk to you, because we run events, we do hackathon, we do conferences, workshop, and it's a great place with, as you can see, good technology, good equipment. So if you have a project, I'd love to talk to you at the end of the event during the mingling part. Before starting, I'd like to give the mic to N18 team, because they have an event in this space this weekend. So if they like to take the mic.
Cool, thank you, Alison. Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm Luis, I'm of marketing at NAM. NAM is a AI workflow automation platform. Historically, we have been quite successful within technical teams, but it's true that with the rise of AI, and since we release of AI features, we have a bunch of marketers also using our tool. We have collaborated before with the AI user group. We have run a few meetups here, and in this weekend, we are running a hackathon with NAM. So we have a few spots. Cyril just confirmed to me that probably we can stretch a little bit to get more extra spots for the hackathon. So I don't know if we have a QR code. Yeah, there is a QR code there where you can check the hackathon this weekend and sign up if you are interested in learning more. Yeah, also happy to have any conversations about NAM, AI, workflow automation, discuss use cases. Yeah, happy to have a chat at the end of the event. I will leave the room for the ones that are presenting today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next slide. So again, we are the AI user group, so if you want to be at this spot tonight and take the mic and introduce your product, your relationship with AI, share best practices, talk to us, because we're always interested in organizing new events. So just a quick guidelines, we'll close around 8:50, so keep that in mind. Tonight we'll have 3 speakers and then the networking session with pizza, and yes, we'll close around 8:59-ish. So tonight, first of all, we'll have Anshuk Gandhi. He's a VP product of Swayable, and he will show us how to turn consumer research into insights with AI agents. Then we'll have Tang, CEO and founder of Dealight, and it's about AI-powered deal optimization. And we will finish with Neha Deodhar. She's a CEO and founder at Gypsum, and she will introduce personalization one-on-one websites. All right, so let's give a round of applause to our first speaker, Anshuk Gandhi.
At Swayable. Not sure how many of us were there at the user conference at Fort Mason in April? Okay, a few of you. So I'm going to repeat some content that I presented over there, but it'll be new for lots of you. So happy to talk in more detail if you remember some content from last time. but hopefully it'll be interesting for you as well. Great. What is Swayable? Swayable is a creative testing platform. We measure how public opinion is shaped by messages that we're exposed to, by the ads and the brand architecture of new companies and new brands, new products, by packaging, by association of brands and campaigns with personalities, with issues, with things that people care about in their day-to-day lives. I'm going to talk with the help of a case study about how AI is being used in practical scenarios to deliver hit brand campaigns. These are high-stakes campaigns, not necessarily optimization on click-throughs or final purchases, but really like setting up brand architecture for, let's say, new products or new concepts that people are introducing in the market. In this particular case study, we work with an agency that's trying to develop a completely brand new brand. It's called Outlaw Sake. What is Outlaw Sake? Anyone enjoy sake around here? Excellent. So the idea is to make sake more accessible, perhaps to the beer drinkers, perhaps to people who don't want to just have it with sushi or have a beverage that does not require the formality that's often associated with going to a fancy restaurant. The team is a 3-person team. They don't have a lot of resources, not a big budget to hire actors, videographers, to pay for locations, to get insurance. How does this team explore this concept of introducing a new beverage, almost like creating a new category? It would, in the past, take at least $250,000 to pull off something like this. But with AI, they decided to create content using a number of image and video tools that we're now getting familiar with. I'm going to play a couple of the creatives that they produced for you. Let's look at the first one. No sound? Try again.
This is sake, but this is sake. Sake has hundreds of years of proud Japanese tradition. Sake doesn't give a shit about any of that. Sake. Sake. Any questions? Outlaw sake. Hard rice seltzer. Screw traditions. Drink the sake.
95% AI generated. That's cool, right? That deserves a round of applause, I think. Okay, let's look at another one.
Who's the genius that decided sake's only fit for sushi? For too long, we've been oppressed by the know-it-alls, the self-appointed gatekeepers of proper. It's time to change that. It's time to make sake accessible again. Sake was the drink that brought people together, shared over meals, in humble homes, on ordinary days. Sake is not some sacred ritual you need permission for. It's a drink. And you should enjoy it however the hell you want. At a cookout, tailgating, after a long Wednesday, or just because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Screw what anyone else thinks. Drink it on your terms, in your way. Whenever the moment calls, no rules, no bullshit, just you and the sake. Outlaw sake. Screw traditions. Drink the sake.
Did you like that? Okay, so the learning here is
This
that you can turn creative concepts into fully produced ads that are testable in the market. It used to take, beyond the money, a ton of time. Often when you're testing new concepts, you're creating new ideas, you don't have the time to wait for the whole cycle of producing content and then waiting for the testing to come. So our partner agency was able to cut down the production time from 8 weeks to 3 days. These are 6 different creatives that they produced, each with a different theme. But then the next question is, which concept is actually going to work? And what does that even mean about actually working? Because the product is not out there. You can't measure sales. You can set up a website and look at some clicks, but that's not actually going to tell you if your grocer is going to carry your brand. So how do we measure that? Let's talk about the concept of measuring for brands, especially new brands or new concepts. For a brand campaign, there are 2 purposes, right? One is to first create that demand, create that need, the affinity, the association with the brand positioning in the market that makes people want to seek it out. When you look at the product at the grocery shelf, is it going to catch your eye? Are you going to remember something that's distinctive about that brand that's different from the beer that you had last week? That's measured using some upper funnel metrics, favorability, consideration, brand equities, preference, things like that. And of course, once you create that demand, then you can harvest that demand, both in the grocery store as well as on Instacart, on Instagram, optimize a number of variants of your creative for click-through rates, for final purchases. All of that can be handled very easily by a number of, by the Facebooks and Adobes and the Googles of the world. But in order to really measure upper funnel metrics, we have to run a randomized control trial. That's kind of the gold standard of proving lift. What is a randomized control trial? It's essentially the same concept that's used in the medical industry to take a placebo and take a test group and then compare the difference between the two. And of course, we apply a number of statistical techniques and machine learning models to improve the statistical significance of the difference that we observe between the placebo and the treatment. And that results in a measurable metric that is that gives a reference data point for us to then compare different ideas for different segments. It gives us a quantitative base to then have discussions about improvements we need to make to the concept or the targeting that each concept needs to have. Okay, so now that we understand a little bit about what we're measuring, let's say we're measuring brand lift as a whole. Any ideas? Show of hands, who thinks the first ad did better? Okay, I see about 4, 5. Okay, great. What about the second one? Awesome. The music was really catchy on that one. Let's see the results. Oh, sorry, wrong. And this is exactly why we test. And it's important to test because often our opinions are shaped by our prior biases, perspectives, what we personally like, but what works in the market may be different. We are not representative of the entire population of the United States or the world. And so this kind of testing helps us, make these decisions in a better way. Now, the time to test. In the past, this kind of testing would take about 30 days at the minimum. But with modern cloud applications and the ability to reach various audiences, we're able to turn this around in 24 hours. So now we have a cycle of, let's say, brainstorming for a couple of days, producing an ad for 3 days, and then testing in 24 hours. In a week, we have results for that can inform whether our concept is actually workable or not, or which of our concepts has a higher potential. Now, we get these results in Swayable in the form of a dashboard, which is quite rich with data on various metrics across various segments. Let me actually switch out of the presentation, go show you the dashboard, and show you how that works. So we talked about a number of these upper funnel metrics, let's say consideration, purchase intent soon. Also, some direct reaction metrics on whether the ad was funny, was it authentic, was it relatable. So you get a large amount of data, and not only that horizontally, but vertically looking at various segments. Okay, let's look at urbanization. Okay, city versus suburban. There are some differences between what people prefer. There are differences based on age. There are differences based on whether they are active on Truth Social or not. How do we make sense of all of this data? So we got these results in 24 hours, but then it may take a week to mine all of this data. How do we find all the target audiences that each concept might work with? That is where agents come into the play. I will invite Vijay over here to show you how we do agentic analysis to dig into the details.
Just, guess we should wait for them.
Oops, sorry, I did the same thing. I
it's all good.
disconnected.
I'm just going to connect it then.
Yeah.
Should I connect? Yeah, that's good.
Apologies, you told me not to disconnect myself.
Yeah. It's all good. All right. Let me just make sure I'm sharing. Choose content. I'll just go ahead and share the entire screen. All right. Cool. So, so I'm just going to walk you through the agentic system that we have right now. And I think what's really interesting about this is that it is purely an agentic architecture in the sense that there's nothing really that's hard-coded in any sort of request or any sort of these processes. It basically takes a research request from a user, and then it breaks it down into sub-problems, and it starts solving it. So right now what I have is, I have a prompt already set up and ready to go. It's a research request on understanding the impact of sake drinkers as a whole. I'll go ahead and kick it off because it does takes a few minutes or several minutes, but I might have to send it back to Anshuk. But let me kind of kick it off. But yeah, so it's going to start running. So what it first starts doing is that it takes a research request and it translates that into something that Swayable understands, so that it can do quantitative analysis inside of it. So once it does that translation, it figures out a research strategy and breaks down some questions and starts working on it. And as it goes through, it figures out some insights and it stores that in memory. So it learns internally of like what it learned, and it figures out how to ask better questions such that it answers the research request. So that's kind of how, at a very high level. I'm happy to talk more about the technical details if you guys want to find me after. I'm very excited about these kind of things, but yeah, I'll send it back to Anshuk.
Yeah, just on this point, like what you're saying here is like we're taking you back into the kitchen, right? All of this is kind of in development, not fully in like very polished UI just yet. But the idea is, hey, if you have a question to ask off the dashboard, off the data, you can form that question in a lay language and get answers really quickly. So maybe we're sitting in a meeting and we want to get, answers to, hey, like, how did this thing do amongst beer drinkers? Because that's the category we want to convert over to sake drinkers. Let's say, let me ask this question, and an agent can go figure it out rather than us searching for that in the dashboard. Maybe it'll say, hey, overall, it did not do well, but amongst the rural audience, yeah, absolutely, this lifted your awareness and interest in sake. So this may take a while to run, but let me show you what folks do. Great. I don't need audio anymore. Yeah. So what we just looked at is sort of exploratory analysis for people. Once we figure out, hey, like these are the types of segments and like target audiences and the and metrics we're interested in, these are the types of reports we want to run for every single concept, we can even automatically generate a report that we can share with executives or with our investors. What does that look like? Let's look at that. It's not working?
Yes, okay.
Okay. So what we're doing here is we've taken a set of questions that are quite frequently asked and then set those up for the agents to process automatically at the end of each experiment and churn out a slide report. So the slide report is automatically generated after doing the analysis of all of the data, all of the results that we collected. And this is ready for presenting to the executives, investors, anyone else you want to share about, hey, this is what our concept was, and by the way, here are the results. So this is quite useful in also crunching the time that it might take for someone to package the results together to show to stakeholders. An example of this, of the insights that we discovered, this I was not aware of after I looked at the results the first time, was that there was a big deviation in, or like there was a difference in how people's original drink preferences, or rather people with different original drink preferences had different reactions to the ads. In addition, we were able to find qualitative information from respondents to highlight, hey, like how might they have felt, sort of calling out a open-end response here. One thing we also learned was that authenticity mattered quite a bit. We're using these AI-generated ads with very quickly generated scripts. Often we find that it's hard to identify one key theme. In this particular case, we found that authenticity mapped really well with brand lift. So the sake ad particularly had that authentic element, and that's one of the reasons that it performed much better than Genius. One other thing that we find, this is a question we often get, hey, okay, like we can just A/B test a number of these ads on TikTok or on Facebook. Isn't that enough? So we also ran these ads on TikTok and collected engagement metrics from that. And here's a plot of what engagement versus brand lift looks like. There are some pattern that they are kind of similar, but the top performing ad on brand lift, which was Sake, did not do as well as some of the other ads on engagement on TikTok. So it's not, and then we find this pattern again and again where there is actually a lack of pattern between engagement and persuasion. And this is another reason why it's really important to pre-test many of these concepts. Okay, this might be a question on folks' mind, given that we're in San Francisco. Can AI predict these results? Answer is yes and no. So we are also able to deploy agents to understand the creative and like really identify, hey, what are the emotional tones of the creative? What is the overall positioning in this message? How is the protagonist appearing to the audience? What are some details that people might notice, right? With the help of this understanding, we're able to draw some patterns. What we've done is across a number of these experiments, we've collected data and put together probably the biggest universe of such experiments in a meta study to then start looking at, hey, like what features of ads correlate really well with increase in brand preference amongst, let's say, the rural audience or the people who are older versus younger, et cetera. We've also started mapping belief networks. So given your prior belief in a certain issue, how likely are you to be influenced by an ad that positions this rustic man with direct language, as an example. By using all of that, we have then simulated synthetic agents that mimic real respondents. And in many cases, this is actually, in this particular case, this is a social science based experiment, there is quite a bit of promise in using synthetic agents to predict people's opinions, especially on social science-based issues. So it might be, hey, support for climate change initiatives or lack of support for cutting Medicare, for example. These are easier than finding, of course, like preference for a particular brand. But for certain categories of issues, we found good results. But of course, yeah, as I was describing, right, it really, like, your results vary as you go into more and more niche subjects that require a lot more context, subjects where there is a lot more variability in people's opinions and it's not shaped by others as much. So research is still ongoing. But one other thing that we've learned is that, given that we know that with sufficient training data, we can predict how people's opinions may change, the additional input we need is from these experiments, continuously reground the data and like feed in additional additional examples of test results to fine-tune these models, fine-tune these agents. And at some point with sufficient data, we will get to a point where we're able to predict brand lift, brand attitudes using synthetic agents. However, people's opinions change every single day. So what the training data that we use today is going to be over tomorrow. So while we will get to a point where it's going to be easier to get answers from synthetic agents, we will continuously need to reground the data, say every month for each niche topic or each audience. Once we do that, then you can kind of imagine the whole process from the start to the end, right? Creating these creative concepts using AI in a matter of 3 days, testing them in a day, feeding the test results to synthetic models, and then testing new concepts using those synthetic models, and then like periodically testing additional new concepts later on, right? So that becomes a cycle of this iterative cycle that helps improve our concepts continuously over time. And that's kind of the key to delivering hit campaigns more consistently. Okay, so to wrap up, 3 takeaways. First of all, we're so lucky to be alive today that we have all of these tools. We can turn each of our ideas into a creative asset really quickly. But testing is critical. Second, you can use AI model to predict, AI models and synthetic samples to predict impact, but you must continuously reground them with real consumer feedback. And third, if we're able to string this process together, we can systematically deliver hit campaigns, which is kind of the holy grail of advertising. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. That was really insightful. Any question? Right.
Hi, thank you for this. This is very interesting. I'm just wondering about the test audience. Maybe I missed this. Who are they? Where did you find them? How big is the sample size? Are they real?
Yeah.
Because it seems there's a lot of parameters on which you can analyze them, especially across a market that's as big as the US. So I'd be interested to know, and how much we can trust them.
Yeah. So let me actually show you. So typically we sample about 1,000 people per creative asset, and then of course the control group is pretty large as well. So here in this case, for 6 ads, our total test sample was 5,700 with a control group of 2,000. This is general population, real consumers. This is, of course, excluding people that we bounced out of the respondent pool because of lower quality issues. So like total sample we would collect is like 8,000, and out of that, we'd pick 6,000 high quality and then use that for measurement. And on top, we use machine learning that has been trained on our prior experiments to boost the quality of the signal as well. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, how do you find them? Is this applicable in other markets? If you were to launch in another market, would you need like a local partner to find high quality or do you have another solution for this?
Yes, we have partners all over the world. So I think except for North Korea and Iran, I think we can do service anywhere.
That's great. Any other question? Yes?
So you mentioned that the testing time reduced from 30 days to 24 hours, right? So I'm curious to understand what is the main difference that's causing this reduction? Like what's that, how are you managing to reduce that gap?
I think the whole process of finding samples, of cleaning the data, of running the analyses and presenting them in the dashboard, the end-to-end process is 100% cloud-based, automated, right? In the past, and like even today, a number of agencies that have the Nielsen's of the world, right? They are still not fully automated, and it's just we happen to be in a tech-forward world, and we're able to put all of these pieces together in a way that's pretty fast.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
All right. I have 2 more questions. 3. Okay. This, and this. Okay.
So just a follow-up on similar, on the sample size you showed, and there's a date of completion. So what you meant is that the campaign was run for how long to reach this sample size to get the results? It's not 24 hours, right? It's the process is took 24 hours.
Yeah, most of the majority of the 24 hours is actually the data collection process because the analysis is pretty quick.
Okay. So to get a sample size that you show here, how long was the campaign being run?
About 23 hours, you can imagine, you can say.
Okay.
So just to clarify, these are pre-campaign, like the campaign has not been live in the market.
Ah, okay.
The campaign is being served through the survey procedure. It's a post-exposure test before the campaign is launched on media. It's not in media yet.
Got it.
Hi, very interesting demonstration. So I work in data, and so I'm very curious about all the data collection process. So for example, you have direct response data and also purchase intent and any kind of interaction data. So for these data points, did you have manual inputs into like what kind of data points should be collected? Or is this all done by the agent, especially when it comes to direct response data? Do the audience need to directly respond, for example, with like a survey, with this sliding scale?
Yeah.
How do they respond to it?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Also a product area that we're working on. So right now, the surveys are deterministic. Each respondent in the control group and the treatment group is served kind of the same or similar questions. But what we're trying to get to as a next step is also to be able to adapt one part. So in order to do the comparison between treatment and control, you need to have a certain portion of the survey fixed. But after that, to dig into the details of, hey, like, why did you think about this ad in this particular manner? We want to engage people in a conversation and have an adaptive survey experience at that point. Also a product area that we're working on. That's a great question. Currently, they are designed by humans. We have a library of best practices that work over, by studying academic research over the past 50 years. So yeah, it's kind of standard, but of course it's customizable.
Great. Well, let's give Anshuk a round of applause. Yes. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. Thank you. Let me switch. All right, Ryan, you are welcome on stage.
Actually, I want to try like the window wrap or extended screen. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Let's do extended screen.
So let's welcome Ryan on stage, founder and CEO of Dealight.
Okay. Do I need to?
Okay, yeah, let's just do that. Sorry about this.
No worries.
Oh, right.
Can I do extended screen? Mirror? Oh. Like this. Oh. Oh, here. Oh. Okay. 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 Hi everyone. It's Ryan. So the topics on the events was a little bit misleading. It's actually I wanted to say for today is that I wanted to talk about the email campaigns and LinkedIn sales channel. So I'd like to do a quick question first. Raise your hand if you guys are doing like email outbound sales or email marketing. Okay. Keep your hands up if you're very satisfied with the result. Okay. I'll find you after the meeting because I'm very curious about that. Okay, so we are Dealight and we help companies scale LinkedIn pipeline. I'd like to start with explaining the title here about why I think the email is super hard or basically like dead down. So according to our research, the average reply rate from now about email has dropped from 7% to 4% since 2023. But from our own experience helping our clients do email marketing, the actual reply rate is way lower. And there are a couple of reasons why we found this is the case. One, of course, there are some policies and restrictions starting from 2024. One of the examples is Google having enforced the sender requirements. And basically, if you don't follow their policy, your email will go into spam. And there are many other policies out there that may cause the issue. The second reason is that we're starting to kind of overuse the AI as a way to help us do email marketing. Basically, for example, like people are using AI to do copywriting, to send automated emails and stuff, and that may result in messages that are not good enough. So even though we all know that AI can help us saving a lot of time, but it doesn't guarantee a better result. Also, we know that right now doing email marketing is way easier than before. So basically, a lot of people can do email marketing themselves. And then that will result in your target audience getting email fatigue, which means that it's the threshold is very low, so that basically you'll have to kind of stand out in terms of the email. So combining all these issues, it means that the people you're trying to reach out is less likely to open the email and reply right now. So here's my suggestion. If you're still rely heavily on email right now, you should seriously consider to look for alternatives. So consider reallocate your resource in terms of your marketing and sales resources. So today I want to focusing on talking about LinkedIn evaluations. So as we all know, LinkedIn generally have higher conversion rate. If you're doing it right, you'll get more reply. People are generally more engaging on LinkedIn. And then basically there wouldn't be any issues about spam filter. Whenever you send an invite to your ICP, they for sure will receive the invite. At the same time, if you're responsive, a lot of the time you're basically chatting with the lead in real time. So if they're interested, it's going to be way shorter to convert a lead, qualified lead, into a demo. But then people on LinkedIn are super sensitive about whether or not your message is personalized or relevant. So a massive outreach strategy you use on email normally wouldn't work on LinkedIn. And then most importantly, it's very difficult for people in business to scale their LinkedIn outreach. There's like 100 or 180, 150 LinkedIn invitations limitations per week, per person. And then even if you buy like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you probably get like 50 email credits. So this means that the conclusion of the slide I wanted to say here is that even though LinkedIn may be a much better channel to do like the outbound sales and all the kind of like marketing campaign, how do we scale the pipeline in a cost-effective way? And so here's what Dealight is. And one of the important things about Dealight, or I can say the biggest difference between Dealight and other AI service and tools, is that it may sound a little bit counterintuitive because like we're AI user group, but we still believe in the need of human. in outbound sales, especially on LinkedIn. So at Dealight, we basically work with over 300 freelancing BDR professionals in the US, and then they'll use the AI tools we build to help our clients book demos and do the outreach on LinkedIn. So in the first part, our AI will handle the leads research, which I'll show you later on in the demos, doing the research, doing the copywriting, all the sequencing, all by itself with AI agents. At the same time, our BDR will take care of handling the reply and demo booking. So when it's down to the funnel, it's much more manageable. And they'll be using their LinkedIn profiles. So basically, when our clients subscribe to our services, they're essentially hiring a BDR operating under their company name. So the best thing, of course, is that the cost, right? So we have 20% cost compared with hiring their own BDRs. The reason why it's going to be this low is because most of the effort is done by our AI. So basically, our freelancing BDRs only need to do a small amount of work, and then because we have human in the loop, the messaging itself during LinkedIn is much more going to be natural and consistent. Okay, so a quick go through about the platform. In order to support our freelancing partners, we built platform specific for LinkedIn. This includes we collect our own data in terms of LinkedIn. We basically would track and see how many of the people lastly engaged in LinkedIn, maybe having a post, maybe doing engagements, so we know what kind of people are active on LinkedIn. So instead of just doing general filters. We also do real-time research of data that's on their websites or their job hiring signals, so not just on LinkedIn platform. Gathering all these, we have our own internal scoring. Basically, we will know who we should prioritize sending because every of the BDR has limitations. And this will also kind of help us increase the acceptance rates and reply rate. So our copywriting would also be crafted based on the research. This is going to be another difference between a general sales tool versus Dealight, because agent can basically decide what kind of message they want to send in order to be personalized based on the different people, different company research. I'll show you guys in the demo. But basically, we are very careful about the people and the message we are sending on LinkedIn. As I mentioned before, they're very sensitive about that. We, of course, support automated sequencing to save our BDR a lot of time. And then finally, we have in-house performance and tracking analysis to keep improving the campaign. We haven't really built the entire modules about analysis into the agent now. So right now, most of them are done by our data analysis. And so combining the freelancer and AI platform, here's how it works when we work with our clients. At first, we will gather materials, unstructured materials from our clients about who they are, what they are doing, who they are trying to do the outreach, basically our ICPs, along with very specific details about their customers or even their value propositions and stuff. Then basically our agents will take on those unstructured materials, find the top relevant accounts to connect with, prioritize those in the sequencing. And basically, if we find qualified leads or people respond, then our BDR will take care of the process. Basically, that includes lead trackings to see when they're available, or even contact them in a few months later, answering their questions and demo booking, etc. And so now you can really imagine that how we can help companies scale their LinkedIn outreach. So if one of our accounts works very well, they simply need to kind of hire more in a fraction of cost. And because we build these in-house tools, saving our BDR partners a lot of time and effort, this means that we can offer a lower price, as I mentioned, while making sure the quality is consistently high. So now one of our metrics is here. We have on average per account 26% LinkedIn acceptance rate. Usually we'll be able to get about 11% LinkedIn reply rate. All of these are driven by our AI copywritings and the research. And on average, one of our accounts can book 5 to 8 demos a month. All right, so now let's go into the demo part. Okay. Okay, so the first part I'd like to show you guys is the platform. Basically, what you're seeing here is our own campaign. Dealight uses Dealight to reach out to Delight's ICP, as you can imagine, right? So here are some of the stuff I can show you. We create different kinds of campaigns to do experiment. Each of the campaign consists of quite a few things. So first, basically these are some structured descriptions about their value propositions, about their services. Of course, we would like to know about their locations, industry, size, and stuff. What's very interesting about like our campaign is that you can not only set up like static filters, but you can basically type in anything you like, and basically our agents will, based on your questions, do the online research and find your answers and qualify the companies. So for example, in our cases, we would like to know if the companies have sales and BDs already. So if they have a few sales and BDs, or like for example, their employees are mostly US, or they are actively hiring sales and BDRs, then we know this may be within our ICPs. So if they're hiring BDRs and sales, we know that we can send a message like, hey, notice you're hiring BDRs, and then like, we actually have alternatives for you to try it out. And this is same for the contact preferences. For the contact preference, we can also do like asking the questions about the person. So if the person is decision maker, is he recently have activities on LinkedIn? What kind of posts does he have? Something like that. And based on the research, we can either do email or LinkedIn. One of the things I like to show you guys about LinkedIn is that, for example, this is one of the part where we can do by specifying template for the AI to fill it in based on the research. Or second of all, we can do something like this. This is a kind of syntax for our AI by saying like a bracket. If we didn't find anything, this will be the default template. Or if the company is actively hiring sales and BDR, then we'll have a different kind of messaging. And this can be created so on and so forth. Send for the following up messages and for the sequencing part. After we have all these researches, we can check out how it looks like here. So for example, the signals indicate how many of the questions we found from the research. What we can see is that, for example, one of the campaigns we created earlier is that we would like to learn if the company is in SLG or PLG companies. So our AI is able to answer yes. They offer demos to help understand the services by researching what the things are looking like. Also, you can see if they're targeting a niche market, if they have sales and BDRs from different kinds of resources and stuffs. At the end of the day, we will have their emails, phones, and contacts to help us do the LinkedIn outreach. After this, usually it goes into two parts. One part is we be able to send a message ourselves. This is to make sure that the message is indeed correct. So you can do this by yourself by maybe modify a little bit about the copywriting. If you're unsatisfied with it, do the proof and send, go through it very quickly. But usually after like a few rounds, our clients would switch on the automations process, and all of those will be sent automatically. And then basically now the LinkedIn was sent by our AIs. When people reply, our BDR take care of it. So finally, here is a performance we would check from time to time and to optimize the metrics and stuff. And lastly, we will basically put this to our data analysis to see what kind of campaigns can we optimize, understand. So now it's like more on the manual process to learn what kind of messaging does works better, what kind of signals works for specific industries. We then put it in our database, teach our model about that, and then basically optimize later on when there's new clients joining us. And that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Ryan. That was a very clear demo. Can you tell us how, if we want to start the journey with Dealight AI, what should we do? How does it work? Like, just the subscription and a bit of that.
Yeah, well, so the way it works is that we will send you guys like a checklist, which includes the materials we need to gather, and we have a portal for you guys to upload the documents, and then the documents we get from the uploaded portal will be fed into our AI agents, and they'll create the campaign, initial campaigns, then we can start. So that's kind of how it works.
Okay, interesting. Any question? All right.
Can clients pay per demo?
That's a good question. We actually tried that business model before.
But
There's a good but. So the but is that there are goods and bads about trying out with demos. And then we found that trying out with demos works for certain industries and certain clients we have. So if they already have some success on emails, they have a pretty mature product, then going with demo makes a lot of sense. Whereas for startups, where they're still exploring their ICPs, then that wouldn't work for us. So we actually have like 2 different pricing right now. We can do price per demo, or basically get like, RE fee hiring BDRs from us.
Yes. Do you mind giving the mic?
What is price per demo?
What's that?
What's the price per demo?
Right now, the price per demo is 180.
Okay. And you mentioned the stats that you show 5 to 8 meetings.
Yep.
Is that an average, or can you speak a little bit more about that?
Right. So basically, that's 5 to 8 on average per LinkedIn account. The reason why it's 5 to 8, it's also depend on the companies and industries we work with. One of the most successful industries we work with so far are staffing and recruiting firms. So that's, you guys can imagine, because a lot of recruiters, staffing and recruiting firms on LinkedIn. So think about like people or clients that may be active on LinkedIn. For staffing and recruiting, we can usually, it's very easy for us to get like even 8 or more demos for them. But for tech startups, which is something that we're exploring right now, we are seeing a little bit less. So that's why I'm using a range instead of like an average number.
All right. No more question? All right, we have time to mingle after. Let's give Ryan a round of applause. Thank you so much. Next speaker and last speaker of the night, Neha, founder and CEO of Gypsum AI. Welcome, Neha, on the stage. A round of applause for our next speakers.
All right. Hi, everyone. Last talk of the day. I know everyone's itching to go eat that pizza. I am too, so I promise to keep this short and sweet. I'm Neha Deodhar, the CEO and co-founder of Gypsum AI. We are building a one-on-one website and landing page personalization product. So today, the world is moving fast. Marketers need to move fast too. You have all of these great ideas that you want to implement, put it out there in campaigns, build out your landing pages, do all sorts of personalization. But the reality is that most of your time is spent waiting on developers, designers to actually build out these pages, waiting on data to build out the personalization, struggling to connect all of the different marketing tools that you have, right? Forms, emails, calendars, juggling all of these. And by the time everything is in place and you've launched your campaign, you've missed a big time window which could have driven momentum for you. So this is one of the problems that Gypsum aims to solve. Personalization as a concept has existed for a while. Everyone knows that personalization matters. There are a lot of studies that have done and proven the numbers for personalization. For example, HubSpot study shows that personalized CTAs, they convert 202% better. That's a huge uplift. Similarly, McKinsey has shown that companies that do personalization very well, they generate 40% more revenue. You end up with better customer loyalty, customers who expect these days, expect personalized experiences. And the customers who get those experiences, almost 78% of those are more likely to recommend you or more likely to repurchase from you. And even for marketers, it just gives you helps you do better decision making, right? Like when you get data from personalization efforts, you have more targeted instant feedback that you can act on versus trying to figure out what in the data makes sense, what in the data appeals to what kind of users, and so on. So even though we know all of these benefits, why aren't we personalizing at scale? There are 3 reasons for this. One is that it's extremely time consuming. Building out these creative assets, doing the personalization for your landing pages, for your websites, for any other creative asset is time consuming. It depends on designers, it depends on developers, and it ends up taking weeks, if not months at times. Similarly, you could also have poor data, right? Lack of data points or lack of research that might be needed to understand how do I personalize the content. Like, hey, what sort of content is going to appeal to certain accounts, or what sort of content is going to appeal to personas. Figuring that out, creating the content so far has been a bottleneck. And similar, A/B testing is really hard too, right? Like when you're waiting for each variant to take a week to launch, you're again going to have a problem with running experiments and running personalization successfully. The good news is that with AI, a lot of these bottlenecks can be eliminated, and you can actually now facilitate and do fast, scalable personalization. So this is where Gypsum aims to come in and help you. We do 2 things. We help you create these creative assets like landing pages instantly that are on brand, using your logos, using your fonts, using your colors. We understand your brand voice thoroughly and create content that's on brand for you. The next thing that we do is we have AI agents that research and personalize the content for various segments. These could be personalizing it for an account that you're interested in going after, or personalizing it for certain ads or for certain keywords. We'll instantly generate variations for you. We'll help you test those variations. We'll auto-suggest new variations for you to try. And all of this is happening on autopilot without much involvement from marketers. So you can now truly scale your experimentation as well as personalization effortlessly. All of these creative assets that you're building out, they work seamlessly with your marketing tools. So like if you build out a landing page, we can help push that out to Webflow or wherever your website and landing pages live. We connect with your audience tools. We connect with your CRM. So you can use all of that data in personalizing the content as well. So now let's take a look at a demo. The first thing that we're doing here is starting with understanding your brand. So what you can do is come into Gypsum. Oops. Okay, so the first thing that we do here is start with your brand setup. So you come in here and you just enter the URL of your website, and Gypsum is going to look at that to understand details about your brand. So your brand colors, font, brand voice, all of those get pulled in instantly. Oh, what is happening here? Okay. All right, there you go. So you get your brand information here, and we looked at HubSpot.com, and you can see that it's picked out all of the different colors that HubSpot.com has on its website. The orange color that's there, if you look at the footer, it's got like this dark blue color. All of these colors that represent HubSpot brand, they're all pulled in here. Similarly, the fonts, right? What are the fonts that HubSpot is using? What is their typography, right? Brands have guidelines around what your H1, H2 sizes should be, what the font weights should be, what the brand voice should be. All of that gets pulled in. The next thing that you start doing is creating a landing page that you can then use for your ads, or you can personalize further. So what I'm going to do here is start with some page creation. Let's say that we're creating a page for a webinar that's coming up, and we specify the brand style, which is HubSpot. You can optionally provide some image of or a screenshot of something that you find interesting. Here, what I've done is I've given an image of a webinar page that had a countdown timer because I like the countdown timer and I wanted my page to have a countdown timer as well. And then you can put in, you can also, either just give the image or you can give some description around what you would like the page to have. So here, for example, I'm saying that, create a landing page to drive signups for a webinar, which is delivered by our CMO. And then it gives some details about the date when the webinar will be held. And that's it. Now, Gypsum's agents will start working. It'll look at the description, it'll look at your brand details, and it'll figure out that, hey, for a webinar page, what sort of content makes sense to have? So things like a countdown timer, maybe a form to drive signups. And these forms are all auto-created. You will immediately get the responses. You don't need to do any setup or pre-setup for those. Things like who is the speaker, maybe FAQs for the event. All of that will be auto-created. It'll tell you what it's going to do, and then it'll start writing the code for it. So as you can see here, it's described the page that is going to be built. And if you look at the HTML here, it's already taken care of things like creating the meta tags for SEO. It's figured out your style. It's choosing the right colors. It's choosing the right logo. All of that is like taken care of for you. And this takes a few minutes to spin up. I have sped up the video so we don't spend time here waiting for this. So you should see it up here soon. And there you go, right? So you saw that you've gotten the HubSpot logo. The fonts are what HubSpot needs. The button is the orange HubSpot color. Then you've got things like what your past attendees say, FAQs, anything that's relevant for your webinar, quickly spun up. So something that would originally depend on designers, developers, takes weeks is now here for you in your brand style guidelines. And you can use this simple visual editor to go ahead and do minor edits that you might see fit. For example, hiding a section, changing text, changing font size, changing images, all of those smaller things that are very easy for you to now do. You can come in here and quickly do those and have this page go live. So I'm just showing some example of changing the font, for example, for some text here. So very simply, in a few clicks, you are able to get this page up and running. Anything that you enter in this form will automatically, any entry in this form will automatically appear on Gypsum, will be emailed to you, can connect to your HubSpot for lead generation, and so on. Now let's take an example of how to personalize this page. So let's say that you want to personalize this page for a few users. I come in here, and I'm just going to go back a little bit. Oops. I'm sorry, give me a minute. Okay, so here's an example of how we can personalize the content for different accounts, right? You just come into the page, you select personalized content, and then you select the areas that you want to personalize. And then you choose whether you want to personalize it for your target accounts or whether you want to personalize it for certain keywords. So let's say you're running Google ads or any type of ads and you want to personalize it for the keyword, UTM keywords that you're getting. You can set this up here. What I've done here is I'm setting it up for 2 target accounts as an example. So I'm going to personalize the content for Stripe, and I'm going to personalize the content for Rippling. And the moment I set this up, our agents will now research about Stripe, about Rippling, and then it'll replace the content that I had selected to be more Stripe specific or Rippling specific. So here, as you can see, it's created 2 links, one for Stripe, one for Rippling. And when you go to the Stripe page, you'll see that the heading, right, like use ABM to scale Stripe's payment solutions, or learn proven techniques for Stripe, right? All of that text is now tailored for Stripe. And you can do this across the page. You can tailor your logos, you can tailor case studies, any other information that you want for those accounts. And similarly for Rippling, right? It's done this, tailored the text for Rippling. So now it makes an impact when you're sending these emails, when you're sending these pages out to Stripe or to Rippling. This personalization makes them, feel better, maybe want to attend this webinar, and increases your sign-up rates. And finally, all of this, once you have it running, you can easily run an experiment across variants. So we'll auto-optimize this for you. So think of this as something that's running on autopilot, right? We'll test out different variants, figure out which variants are doing well, auto-suggest new variants for you to try out. So this helps you kind of keep your personalization going and getting better and better over time. And this will be like for each persona, each segment, each account, figure out what sort of variants are doing well, segregated for all of these different areas. So finally, it's real results, real revenue, right? So the difference is that, compared to before, you can go live in minutes. As you saw, super simple to come in and create a page, super simple to get it personalized for accounts or keywords that you want to go after, and literally go live in minutes without waiting on developers or designers. Our customers are seeing 2x to 5x lift in engagement and conversions with personalized experiences. Free up your team and actually deliver measurable ROI, right? Get more leads, get more upsells, get more revenue, drive more traffic to your content, drive more leads using Gypsum. And that's it. We would love your feedback. We are in private beta and are piloting this with a few customers. We would love to, get your feedback on the product and help us see where we can help you or where we can make it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Okay, I have one question. What kind of integration Gypsum has? Like, can I use my CRM or have my website linked to Gypsum AI?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you can use your CRM. So we connect with HubSpot, for example, also Webflow, like any of the website systems. And CRM integrations can work in 2 ways. So we use data from your CRM to decide how to do the personalization. So for example, a lot of companies already do some research on accounts and already have some notes and information that they've stored in their CRMs. We can make use of those attributes to do the personalization of the content. And 2 is, when you get, depending on what kind of clicks or conversions you get on your website, all of those leads will also be pulled back into your CRM. So it works both ways for input and output as well.
That's really great. Thank you. Any question in the room? Yes?
Thanks, that's really impressive. The components that are spit out the AI engine, are those reusable for additional, next round of campaigns?
Yes, you can. Sorry, go ahead, complete your question.
Okay, and then the other question is, if we already have certain components built out that we like, can we instruct the agents to reuse those components?
So this is when you have, so the first question is yes, you can reuse components. So you can sort of select a component and ask for it to be reused later. For the second question, do you mean like components from somewhere else or components that are pre-created in Gypsum itself?
From somewhere else, the ones that we already
Yeah, so we have something like a clone feature. So the way that works is you can upload a screenshot and you can say clone this exactly, and it kind of creates a clone of that whatever image that you've sent, right? So let's say it sees some text and buttons and so on, it'll kind of try to create a variation of that. So that's how you would go about doing it.
Cool. So I'm really curious about the auto generation of content and assets here.
Yes.
So you mentioned some of this could just be like you deploy it and it can kind of maybe self-learn and make some updates. How are you, I'm just really curious, how are you thinking about the human in the loop here? And like getting the marketing leader or the designer in that so that everything is on brand?
Yeah, so all of the content that's generated has to be approved before it goes live. So we'll never publish, or nothing on your page will be like shown to users that's not pre-approved. So we'll recommend the content. We'll say that, hey, these are variations that are suggested. Would you like to publish them? And then it has to, like, a human has to come in and hit publish for it to go live.
Yeah, hi. Can you talk a little bit more about the dimensions of the personalization? Like, for instance, is there a way that you can drive the personalization based on customer behavior rather than just demographics?
Yeah, so the way to do that right now would be through connecting your CDPs. You can bring in, we can connect with like some CDPs that you have, and then based on the audience that are coming in from there, you can select certain attributes and sort of form segments that you then use for your personalization.
Do you mind passing the mic?
That's a very impressive. I've just gone through that pain of having landing pages built, and it was extremely painful. So
Awesome.
how are you bundling this? How are you looking to price it? Are you buying packages? What does that look like?
Yeah, so there are different packages that we have. One package, like a starter package, is simply just creation of landing pages without any dynamic replacement or without any personalization. And then the next package is personalization. So depending on what your needs are, there are variations, like different packages that we have available.
Okay, so you can buy a bundle. So if I'm
Correct.
going to run 5 campaigns, 10 campaigns in the next month, I can
Yes.
buy that as a package.
Absolutely, yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
This looks super cool for SEO. Say like you're testing out 100 or 1,000. Are you against like a generic SEO page and then 100 customized? Have you figured out what's the minimum traffic you need to like figure out for like those the variants?
To figure out which variants are
Yeah.
doing well. So I think that does, for higher traffic, it will take much lesser time for you to reach statistical significance. But for lower traffic websites, that might take a longer time. So we'll have to like look into some details there to iron that out for you.
Do you have a question? All right. So I think we can give a warm applause to Neha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's time now for something we call mic announcement. So if you have any project, if you want to take the opportunity to talk for a minute, it's your time. If you're looking for beta testers, if you have some ideas you'd like to share, a product, or if you're looking for a job, this is a great opportunity to take the mic. So is anyone wants to come on stage tonight? Not tonight? All right, well, someone, yeah, two. Okay, great, come.
Hi guys. I'm Checho from Kebula, and I'm looking for people who are working with data and are bored with the job and want use agent to do that for them. So if you are interested in data or data analytics, just find me here.
Hey guys, my name's Sam. I'm co-founder of an AI startup called Blunch. So we've just launched on our platform. You upload visuals, images, ad creatives to do with your brand, and we train a custom AI model just on your brand, which will create videos and images in your specific style. So graphics, illustrations, finished Instagram posts, and videos as well. So the good news is you can start for free without logging in, just Blunge.ai on your phone. If it sounds interesting or useful, come up and have a chat to me at the end. Thanks.
How's it going, folks? My name is Nolan. I'm with an organization called FEL. We are a platform that is a one API, basically seamless interaction into some of the world's most prominent generative AI media models. So we have Kling, VO, Imagine, all the burden of having to go through those different providers or go to those models specifically. FEL takes that away. Go to the FEL interface. You can play around with the models for enterprise, startups, individuals who just want to kind of get creative and have some cool outputs. FAL.ai.
What's up, guys? I'm Chimere, co-founder and CEO of Comica. So it's a pretty cool tool that we just launched, and I'm looking for people to try it out and give us some feedback. But what it does is it turns your ideas into comics using AI. And what I really like about it is it's pretty good for if you're looking into brand mascot campaigns. And what is so cool about it is that you can actually create your characters and save it within the platform, so you can use that to tell your stories. So if you're a marketer or a founder and you're looking into something like this, please check us out or come talk to me, and yeah, I'll give you all the details.
Hello everyone, this is Hasib, and I'm actually looking for a brand designer, someone who is creative and would love to build a brand that resonates with a lot of people. And this is a paid work, so I would love to talk to you if you are interested in this project. Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm probably the last one, so you guys can enjoy pizza after me. Shubham, one of the co-founders of Questera AI, which is the first agentic customer engagement platform. So what we do is we collect a bunch of customer data from different places, then we take that, and then we are able to help you run emails, push notification, marketing campaigns across different channels. So don't talk to me if all your customers that are coming onto your website are down the line converting, retaining forever. But if that's not the case, I would love to talk to you guys. Thank you.
All right, it's time for the pizza now. Thank you so much for the night. It means a lot for us, for you to come every week. And we hope to see you again soon. And now it's time to mingle. Good night.